Hi everybody. My girlfriend got some news this morning that I can officially say has made me feel a completely new emotion. And I don't know if it's because it's an emotion that I've never felt before, or it's a mixture of a lot of emotions that I'm getting, and I'm confused about which one is which. Part of me is a little happy. I know that's probably bad to say, but part of me feels relieved. Most of me is sad, of course. Part of me feels like maybe it was my fault. I know it wasn't my fault, but I don't know. These things are difficult to parse out. Obviously I really can't tell my girlfriend about any of them because, well, I think that her reaction would not be great, and also we're just not that close yet, honestly. We're sort of still in the phase where I'm trying to advertise the best version of myself, and I'm trying to be the person that she's gonna like, and then eventually, once she's hopelessly in love, then I'll start revealing my bad qualities. Not that there's a lot, but you know what I mean. I don't know. Everybody sort of does that in a new relationship, I feel like. And I think the biggest thing that I don't know. If I had to pick my worst quality, I think it would be that I am insecure. And a lot of people think of insecurity as only being harmful to yourself, but it is a very, very destructive emotion, because insecurity is sort of like the dark puppeteer that influences all of your actions and behaviors and words. And it turns you into a monster, because you are so desperately trying not to feel like you are less than, or you're trying to feel better about yourself, that you will go to the ends of the earth to do it. It doesn't matter who stands in the way, and it doesn't matter what you have to do to get there. And I always notice that when I'm in a relationship and I'm feeling really insecure, and I'm afraid, oh, they're going to cheat on me, they don't love me, blah, 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 all this stuff, because I feel like I'm not good enough. When I get out of the relationship and I get out of that fog, I look back on myself and the decisions I made, and I'm like, oh my gosh, who is that guy? And how could he have done these things? It's scary. It's kind of like I'm blacked out almost. So I am dating a girl that I have known for a few years. I've known her for, I would say, about 4 years. And I have been in love with her pretty much that entire time, honestly. We only just started dating a month ago, and I've dated people since then, which is bad, but I think I've explained this before in some videos. You got people in the background that are not, when we met, I do believe in love at first sight. Maybe it's not necessarily love, but I do think that when you meet someone for the first time who is going to be very significant in your life, and who's going to end up playing a pivotal role in how the story of your life unfolds, I believe that you can feel that in the moment in which you first meet them, because the universe has to attract you to this person, and you can feel their significance. It's like, some people say that time doesn't actually exist, and everything, past, present, and future, is all just happening at the same time in the grand scheme of the universe, but we interpret things as events that happen one after another. So that being said, it's like you feel that all of these things are going to happen with this person. You just don't know that they're going to happen yet, but your body can feel it, I think. And so that's how I felt when I met this girl. I was like, oh my gosh, it was like a lightning bolt. And I was too, I was too scared to really do anything. It was her who made the first move towards me, which I couldn't believe. I remember when my phone went bing, I was like, oh my gosh, how the hell? How did I manifest this? And we started talking, and I was it's so stupid when I, in retrospect, when I look back on it, it was like, clearly she was interested in me. Clearly I had a shot. But like I said, I was just too insecure to see it. And I sort of let it pass me by because I was too chicken to take the initiative. And I had a shot and I blew it, 4 years ago. And she started dating someone else. So I sort of was like, okay, and I moved on and I dated other people, but she was still back there, And I was like, man, maybe in another life, And then I've told you many stories about my life. I mean, you sort of know what's been happening to me. I've been very busy, and I've had a lot of different people, and it was only recently that we both sort of found ourselves in the, together again, or in that situation again, where we were both single, we were both still kind of interested, and so I reached out this time because I said, I don't want to blow this again. And I said, hey, would you, you want to hang out or something or whatever. And I'm, long story short, basically, we both realized we were interested and we were, for all intents and purposes, dating. And I was looking for a job because I had gotten fired, remember, from Target for my cocky one boing boing joke, which, if I could go back to that day and pluck the phone out of my hand before I sent that, I would. But anyway, I was looking for a job, and she worked at this sort of, I guess you could call it a marketing firm. That's sort of what, if you're a social media person and a comedian, that's really your only option for a real job, is to go into marketing, so that you can sell your soul to make other people money. But I needed to pay rent. So she was like, I'm sure that I can get you, one look at your social media and they'll hire you on the spot. I'm sure I can get you in there with the boss. So I said, yeah, that'd be great. I mean, and she said, yeah, it'll be so fun because we can work together. And I, on the surface, was like, yeah, but inside, I always made it a rule for myself, don't SHIT where you eat, because I think that working with your significant other is a very, very bad idea. Some people can do it, but I'm not that type of person because I just have so many insecurities and all of these things, and now we're seeing why. The phone almost fell off that steering wheel again. So she said, yeah, it'll be great. The only thing is that, Steve works here too. That's not his name, but Steve is her ex-boyfriend, the guy who dated her after I missed my shot. And Steve and I had sort of previously been friends, but not really. We were sort of acquaintances, And she said, the only thing is that Steve works there, and we're sort of in a little bit of a pickle because the boss, it's only the three of, so it's the boss, my girlfriend, her ex, are all in this tiny little office. And she said, here's the problem. The boss thinks that we are still dating because we broke up, and we did not want to tell the boss because we thought that she would fire us if we told her that we had broken up because we got hired as a couple. And so I said, okay. I mean, that should have been a red flag to me right at the beginning, but you're in love and you're just like, okay, sure, whatever, just get back on that thing, So I sort of said, okay, well, so what? What does that mean? And she said, well, that means that you and I, cannot officially date because we have not told the boss that we broke up. So it doesn't make any, we can't then now date. And also, we can't tell the boss that we broke up because then it's going to be like, well, why did you lie for the past 6 months? It had been months since they had broken up. But for some reason, they both, and I don't know, maybe it was one of those situations where, you break up but it's sort of like soft, you're like, well, let's take a break and maybe we'll revisit it. And then it's like, well, I don't want to date officially, but let's just sort of, I don't know. How sometimes that stuff can happen when you break up, but you're too, non-committal to just say, never talk to me again. So anyway, so I said, okay, I guess, eventually you're going to have to tell her because this is crazy. And she said, yeah, I know, we're going to do it. We're just waiting for it's not the right time yet, and so I said, okay, I guess that's fine. I still need a job, So I said, fine. And basically what that meant was that the three of us were all going to work, and it was going to be me, my girlfriend, her ex, and the boss. And the boss still thinks that they're dating, when in reality, they broke up and we're dating. And so that was sort of like a pressure cooker nightmare environment for me. I didn't realize it at the time. I did not think that it was going to be as bad as it was, but in retrospect, I was definitely traumatized by that because I'm jealous as it is. So now being trapped in a room all day where I'm over in the corner and they're the work couple, and they're sort of trying to keep up. It was a very strange situation. But, this girl and I, we really liked each other. So I said, okay. And the job was awful. It was miserable. I felt sick to my stomach, even knowing that they were in the same room, let alone this whole Shakespearean play that they're putting on all day. And the very first day, I was like, I cannot do this. But it's too late. I need to pay rent. And I can't just now be like, well, I quit, day one. Where else am I going to get another job? I can't afford to even go a week without having any income. So I cannot emphasize to you, I said pressure cooker earlier, and that really was the best way to describe it. It was like I had to sit there facing the wall and hear them giggling back there, and talking to each other and sort of acting like they are a couple. Maybe they just hadn't broken up. I'm not so sure that they actually had broken up. Maybe that was just a yarn that she was spinning me because she was manipulating everybody in this situation individually. I don't know. I don't want to go that far, but it was just, it started eroding my mental health, and I got so desperate that I started using anti-anxiety medication every day just to be able to get through the day without puking. I couldn't eat. That whole first week that I worked, I did not eat anything. I had a baby carrot once, and then I immediately puked it out onto the side of the road at a red light. And if you've ever been on anti-anxiety medication like benzodiazepines, they sort of, you sort of become not yourself. And the problem is you think that you're being normal, but you're actually being a crazy person, and you just can't tell because your whole nervous system has got shut off. So that started to kind of make me a little loosey-goosey, but at the same time, I noticed as an addict that you can't get away with it. With people who have known you for a really long time, they're going to know instantly if you're on something. But people who you just met, you can get away with murder because they don't know what you act like. So it was a great situation for me because you know, the boss just meant me and everybody else. So anyway, basically, the boss would send them on their own to go do stuff, and I would be left alone in the room. And that's what would really get me was that they would go off and just do God knows what, maybe make out in a closet for all I know, you know. One day, I remember the boss telling me, did you go in the studio the other day? The photography studio? And I was like, no. And she said, well, because there were a bunch of pillows on the ground and blankets, like somebody had slept there. And I said, well, I don't have any reason to sleep there. I wasn't working on anything last night. And so she was like, okay. And so then that sort of started to get me spiraling, because I was like, well, was that them? You know? I'm just trying to paint a picture of where my brain was at. I was very paranoid, and I didn't feel like I could trust anybody, and I was sort of scrappy. So the ex-boyfriend smoked cigarettes, and so did my current girlfriend, which really made me jealous, because it was like something they had in common that I didn't have in common with them. And I've considered taking up smoking just so that I could be out there too, but it was just, I don't know, it's never appealed to me. It always makes my chest hurt, you know, for some reason. So they would go out and smoke cigarettes on the porch, you know, and I'd watch them through the window, and, you know. And one day they went to take a smoke break. And the ex-boyfriend, let's just call him Tim. Tim is his name. Tim left his phone on his desk, because he was airdropping a file to his computer. And so he said, well, while this does this, I'm going to go out and have a cigarette. And then she came out with him. I said, well, I'll have one too. So his phone was unlocked, sitting on his desk. And the nice thing about when somebody's smoking is that you know you have 10 minutes, because it's basically like a little clock. So I don't know exactly, like I said, I was loopy brain. So I don't know exactly what pushed me to decide to do this. I think that part of me was thinking, I don't know. I'm broken. I'm damaged, I guess. I don't know. But I went over to his phone, and I went into his phone and changed the contact of my girlfriend, which had a heart next to it still, by the way. I changed it from her number to my number. I think what I was thinking was that I just want to have one night where, what I'll do is I'll change it for one night, and then that way I will, it'll be like I can see what types of things he's actually sending. I can't get a hold of my girlfriend's phone, so this way I can just see what types of things he sends to her, if any, you know, if they talk at all. And so I did that very quickly, and I left the phone on the desk, and I came back and I sat back at my computer, and I just went about my day. And then I kind of forgot about it because nothing else had happened. That night, I got a text from him, and it was sort of an innocuous work question, you know. And I texted back, and I was like, yeah, that there it is. And then I realized he is texting me thinking that I'm her, because I had sort of forgot that I had done that. And so I was like, okay, wait a minute. And I panicked, because I didn't want now this to, because if he finds out that I was regretting doing this, so I was planning on just going tomorrow and changing it right back. And I was trying to just sort of not, because I knew this could potentially end my relationship. So I kept it going for a couple of messages. Just because I said I just need to buy myself time until I can go in there and change it back. And we only sent maybe 3 or 4 messages back and forth. But it was interesting because they were not, I don't know if this was my paranoid brain going crazy. They were not, there were things in there that could be debatably either or. You know, in the content of his messages, I could see it going either way. Like, yes, you could send this to somebody who you were involved with still ongoing, but you also could talk this way to a coworker. You know, I didn't know exactly. And so part of me was like, well, maybe I can just, if I just get some more information out of him, then maybe I'll figure it out. So again, I was all these things going around in my head. And remember, I'm sort of on medication, so I'm not making clear decisions. So the next day, I got a text from him on my phone while I was at work and while we were all in the same room. He sent me a text that said, "I'm still thinking about us in the studio the other day." And I had to really, really try not to visibly react at all. But do you ever have a panic attack that's so bad you sort of have an out-of-body experience? Sorry, it's just kind of, it's hard to remember this part. So I got up, because I couldn't be in that room anymore. I got up and I said, "I'll be right back," with a huff. And I went outside and I just walked around. I just paced wildly up and down the sidewalk. Back and forth, back and forth. Because, I don't know. At first I was angry at her. Like I said, I was feeling this was another part where I'm feeling a new emotion. It's just sort of blind, it was like blind rage that I have never felt before in my entire life to this extent. And so what became dangerous about this situation was that now my perspective was, well, they started it. They crossed the line first. They betrayed me and they hurt me and they did this thing wrong. So now not that I can do whatever I want, but it's like don't I deserve to get a couple of punches in? Not literally, but don't I deserve to get something, you know? So I started texting him as me. The original message that he sent was still, "Hey, I'm still thinking about the studio the other day." And I wanted to send him something back that would hurt him, but that would not cause too much of a fuss. And so I tried to, I want to also confess, this is not my first time catfishing. And it's also not my first time catfishing as her. I think that it can be kind of a fun, creative exercise as a writer and as an actor to catfish, because it's like you have to pretend to be somebody else and you sort of have to inhabit that character, so to speak. So it was kind of fun trying to think of messages that were, that were like something that she would say and got her sort of flirtatious, playful sort of spin, but also that were, believable and that were conveying an emotion. So anyway, I texted him back something like, he had said, I'm still thinking about the other day in the studio, wink, wink. There wasn't a wink emoji, but it was, the implication was there pretty clear. And I said, really? Because I'm not, And he responded right away and he said, oh, damn, okay. Guess I wasn't that good or something like that. And I said, I've had better. I don't know. I just thought it would be a fun, playful thing that also wouldn't cause too much of a commotion. And he didn't answer that one. So I went back into the office, and the good news is that the boss is always there. So it's not, I wasn't worried about them being like, hey, did you get my text? And I wasn't worried about him saying like, that was a weird text that you sent me earlier or something like that. Maybe they did, I don't know. But I think what helped was that I do think that my girlfriend was trying to, I think that she knew it was still wrong of her to cheat on me, basically. But I think that she also did not want to be in this situation. I'm giving her really the benefit of the doubt because I don't think that she wanted to be in that situation. And I think that she was trying to get out of it. I think that she was just trying to get out of it without hurting anybody's feelings at all. And that was impossible. Somebody was always going to get hurt. And so she, in her trying to avoid hurting anybody, she ended up sort of taking the whole ship down. And I'm not saying it was all her. I mean, it kind of was, but it was a lot of people. It was a bad situation. So my point in saying all that was that I don't think that I think because we were dating and we were fairly happy, I don't think that she was chomping at the bit to get a text from him to the point where she would say something in person to him that was like, why haven't you texted me? Or something. Because remember, it's only been a day so far. It's only been 24 hours. And I just sort of, I didn't really know what my next move was going to be because I guess the right thing to do would have been to just admit what I had done and admit that, yes, it's kind of like that thing where you snoop on your partner's devices and then you find that they are cheating on you. That doesn't necessarily make the snooping right. The snooping was still wrong. It's just that now the fact that you both were in that situation at all means the relationship was bad. So you just have to get out of it, right? So the right thing to do and the mature thing to do would have been to just end it. But I did not want to do that because I was not in the frame of mind to do the right thing and the mature thing. I was hurt. I was pissed. I wanted revenge. I'll just say it. I felt like I am the only one in this situation who has got their ass kicked. I am the person who's never stands up for himself in this situation. I'm the person who's at the bottom of the totem pole. I want to I don't know. I don't know what I wanted. That's the thing. I don't know. So, I was kind of giving my girlfriend the cold shoulder. Because I didn't want to do, it was sort of like, she would be like, hey, do you want to hang out tonight? And I'd be like, not really, Or I didn't think I said it like that, but I said, oh, I'm really tired and so I think I'm going to try to take tonight to be by myself. And she said, okay, that's fine. Very nice. Let me know if and then she said, you sure nothing's wrong? And I was like, yeah, I'm fine. I'll lie. And she was like, you sure? It was one of those things where you sort of ping pong back and forth. You're like, you sure? You sure? You sure? You sure? But I was like, yes, I'm totally fine. Everything's fine. And she didn't buy it, but, you know, there's only so much you can do when somebody repeatedly says, no, nothing's wrong. So I went home and I was just a wreck. You know, I started drinking a lot and combining the pills. And I was just so... I remember very vividly sitting on my porch with my phone in one hand and the bottle in the other. And I was just... I could feel the steam coming off of my head sitting out there. And I sent a text. My girlfriend, you know, she had told me enough about their relationship for me to have some background as to why they broke up, you know, because a couple of times I had said, I'm a little jealous of the fact that you two dated and now you're still friends and all this stuff. And she had told me, no, don't worry. He was, he was just really boring and he was not good in bed and he had a small thing, you know, and all of that stuff. And, he just wasn't right for me because I didn't love him to a certain extent towards the end. That's just what she said. She said, I didn't love him. So, knowing all of that information, I started typing out a message to him as my girlfriend that was basically a really long letter where I said, it's over once and for all. And also, here's all the things about you that I never told you to your face, but I can't keep them a secret anymore. And I told her basically everything that she had told me about him and their relationship that she didn't like. I turned it up to an 11. And I put it all in this long text. And I was sort of thinking most of the time doing it, I am just going to type this out so that I feel better. I'm not going to send it. Well, I don't think I was really, honestly, I'm giving myself a lot of credit in retrospect. I don't think I was thinking anything at all. I don't think that prefrontal cortex was doing anything. I think that I was all effed up. And so the only thing in my brain was a smoldering pile of ashes. A red hot blob of hatred and insecurity and destructiveness. I don't think that's a word, but you know what I mean. So I typed out the long message, and before I knew it, I had hit send. And it was sort of one of those things where I was like, I could barely even see. I couldn't hold the phone up. I was about to go to bed. I was about to fall asleep and pass out right there. I think I did a couple times. All I remember was that I was laying down like this, like drooling. And I came to, and I just saw my long message was blue. And then I remember the effed up me was like, oh crap. You know, back to loopy land. And that's the sort of, this has happened you ever black out one night and then you get up the next morning and you're like, oh, my life is great, everything's fine. And then all of a sudden you open your phone and you see some evidence from the night before and you're like, and you don't even know what happened. It's like you've got to figure it all out yourself too. That's what happened. And I said, well, I got to go to work. You know, I don't know what, that's the one thing that I know I have to do. is I have to go to work on time. Sometimes it's nice when your life completely falls apart to have one, one sort of constant scheduled thing. So it's like, I have to be at work by 9 o'clock. Okay, I'm going to go. Went to work, and I had also texted my girlfriend as me, and I said, I'm on my way, I'd see you soon, or whatever, because she said good morning, blah, 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 whatever. And I got there, and she was already there, but there was no sign of, what did I say his name was? Tim. And I was sort of like panicking because I was kind of like, the jig is up here, I think I pushed it I regretted sending that text the night before, and I think I pushed it too far with that. And then Tim still, the hour, then it was like 9:30, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, no Tim. People were calling him, trying to get a hold of him, nothing. And so they were, I was sort of trying to, me and my girlfriend were like, well, I'm sure he's fine. Sometimes he just sleeps in, or maybe he had a long night out, and he just, or maybe something happened with his family, maybe something happened with his dog. When something like that happens, you don't immediately think, oh, there's been a terrible tragedy. You just you want to believe the best possible scenario. Nobody wants to say, yeah, maybe he, kablam. But that was what had happened. I never got an answer as to what time it was. Because I think on my phone I had sent that message at 11 something. So part of me wants to believe it was a really the optimist in me wants to believe that it was just a bad coincidence. But deep down I'm like, oh. And like I said in the beginning, I feel bad, but I would be lying if I didn't say I'd be lying if I did not say, that's a double negative. No, it's not. I'd be lying if I didn't say that I was sort of relieved, because I think in the darkest recesses of my mind in that moment, when I think really hard, and I'm not saying this is good, it's just because I have worked a lot in therapy to understand why I do things and to reveal the dark parts of myself so that I can make myself better. I think that part of the reason why I sent that message was because that's what I wanted to happen. I didn't think I knew that he had some struggles with that, but oh, who am I kidding? She told me she was constantly worried about him. She said, I am really concerned that's part of why I didn't want to break up with him right away, was because I was worried about him doing that. He had said that he was going to do it a few times. And I'm such a jerk. In my head, the whole time was thinking, just tell him, and who cares if he does it. I would love to pretend that I didn't know any of this and that wasn't all part of why I did it, but it is. I knew. I knew the odds are that's what he's gonna do. And I wanted to push him over the edge. Because I was jealous. Because my stupid ape brain I can't tell anybody either. And I don't know what to do. Because I can't now. It's like the boyfriend in Midsummer. That's a good movie. Midsummer. I can't now break up with my girlfriend while this is happening, you know. And even throughout all this, there is still a little tiny glowing candle flame that's like, it's not right, but it's the same ape brain that made me jealous enough to do it in the first place. But I'm sorry. Kind of.